Out the analogy for like another sport. There's no way to have that experience in football or basketball or baseball.
When did it happen?
Either Saturday or Sunday. My days are fucking weird now.
I'll have to look it up.
It's great. I just wish the place was packed.
Yeah. No one wants to come watch, you know?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Was it even filmed?
Court drawings.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Awesemo.com NBA strategy show presented by No House Advantage. I'm Dave Loughran on Twitter at Loughy_D, LOUGHY_D, joined by Josh Engleman at Josh Engleman. And my friend, there is blood in the streets today in the crypto world. We're here to talk basketball, but holy shit. I woke up at like 6 o'clock. Awful decision. We're at $38,000 Bitcoin. I'm saying, okay, this sucks, but this happens, right? It's volatile. I'm not sweating it. And I check an hour later, we're 33. Check an hour later, we're down below 30 on some. Just absolute madness in the streets today. But here we are talking basketball.
Yeah, this is gonna be. I'm gonna have to keep talking about basketball a lot because I don't have any other money coming in from anything else. All of my other investment sources are getting worked. Apparently, I shouldn't have my entire net worth in Safe Moon.
Yeah, I feel like that was an ill-advised approach. Yeah, it doesn't matter what it's in right now, honestly. No. I don't know
what's the opposite of this. What's doing well today in the markets?
I'd have to look. I don't know.
Soybeans rising today. Who the hell knows, man?
Yeah, the price of corn is skyrocketing. Look, It's not Ether. It's not Bitcoin. It's not Cardano. Listen, here's the thing, though, right? If you're panicking, you can't do anything about it. I mean, if you sell now, you're just dumb. If you sell at a 40, 50, 30, 60% loss, depending on where you got in, you're never going to do anything in this world. So you just got to ride it out, Josh.
Apparently feed cattle is doing pretty well today. Gold isn't doing too shabby.
How's the S&P?
I don't know. I'm trying to find agricultural future. Even coffee's down today, man. Yeah, even coffee's down.
Well, we'll be back. And when we are, we'll be here to talk about it for sure.
I bet drugs are up when you see the market go down like this. If only they were commoditized, you know?
I got to shave my face for the deeper dive today. That should be fun. You know what I'm thinking about? Going all out and just doing some like heavy mutton chop action.
Don't do it.
Why not?
Are you on the deeper dive tomorrow, by the way?
What's tomorrow? Thursday?
Yeah. Don't check the schedule because it's not there.
Probably why.
You assume you're doing the deeper dive?
Yeah.
I'll be joining you, apparently.
Sweet. All right.
Spoiler alert, everybody.
That'll be fun. Going back to back. We won't have the strategy show together, but we will have the deep dive. So that'll be a good time.
3-man band as well.
Yeah, that's right. We got Ryan on with us.
Oh, I have no idea.
I think it's Rimpack. Yeah, going showdown slate, Pacers, Washington, and then you've got the 9 p.m. game on Friday with the Warriors and Lakers, so we can finally close out this stupid play-in round. I'm with you. You know, at first I was all for it. You're right. I don't want to watch Charlotte and Indiana. I just don't. Like, even Washington and Boston, I had very little interest in that. At one point, I turned on that movie Greenland, that disaster movie with Gerard Butler, because those games are just not interesting. I've watched so many of those over the last month or two.
It's what I've been trying to say. Look,
you're right. I'm telling you, you're right.
I appreciate it. The Lakers and the Warriors are obviously different, but it's not that I want to watch the Lakers and the Warriors play. It just so happens that like 2 of the 5 best basketball players I've ever seen play happen to be playing in that game. So it's got a different appeal, but I expect the Lakers to win the game. But yeah, you nailed it. Like, I don't want to watch some of these games. They're not good. Who's really excited to watch the 17th and the 22nd best teams in the NBA battle it out? Certainly not I.
It's not fun. And then to make matters worse, the game between Charlotte and Indy was terrible. Yeah. Awful game. At no point was that competitive.
I mean, we're talking about 2 of the 10 worst teams in basketball. Like weird things are going to happen. They're missing dudes. It's just gross. It's just gross.
There's something that doesn't make sense about allowing 60% of teams into the playoffs or whatever it is, 70, I don't even know what it is, but it's dumb.
My opinion in this scenario is either you have a limited entry to the playoffs or literally everyone can get in, but the first couple levels is just knocking out the trash.
Yeah.
A lot of buys and stuff for those first 4 seeds where you allow everybody in to make a run. Maybe someone gets through. But in this case where it's like, well, 4 of these teams suck. And then we got like 4 other teams where, 2 of them are probably okay. I hate that nonsense. It's just wasteful.
What if for the play-in games, you took your top 3 players and all of the play-in games were in one night, and you take your top 3 players, you play 1 quarter each, 3-on-3. Would you watch that? I would.
No, that sounds terrible.
Would. No, that's awesome.
Well, I don't want to watch 3-on-3 basketball. If I wanted to do that, I would watch the big 3.
Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Why would I want to do that?
Because it'd be fun.
The last thing that I want to do is watch Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, and Alex Len play a 3-on-3 game.
Are you saying Alex Len is their 3rd best player?
I don't know who the 3rd player in that scenario would be. It's probably Robin Lopez.
Not Alex Len.
Who do you think it'd be Rui? Do you think that's who they would go with?
No, I think you just go super small because Westbrook can rebound anything and he's a rim protector. When it's 3-on-3, it's just forget about protecting the rim, man. Just score. Just score. No. Would it be so? Okay, you throw Rui in there, fine. You're not throwing you probably could throw Bertans in there because the only way he can make shots is if he's wide open.
And he wouldn't be wide open.
Sure he would.
No, he wouldn't. So
Westbrook driving to the rack, you only put 1 on him?
You don't help off of Bertans, I don't think.
So you got 3-on-3. We're going to dive into these games just a second. A little hype.
Plenty of time. Okay, so who are the other 3 for the Pacers? Sabonis, obviously.
No. Go back to yesterday. Let's go back to yesterday.
Okay.
Tatum,
that's fine.
Tatum, Kemba, and I put Marcus Smart out there. Who would you put out there? Would you put like Tristan Thompson or Robert Williams out there?
No, Tatum's playing the 5 in that scenario. If Rui is not the 5, but like Tatum's the big man if Rui's the big man.
I put Smart out there though.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So the Washington Wizards bring the ball up. You got Westbrook, you got Beal, and you've got Bertans. Okay. Westbrook drives to the rim.
Okay.
You just say, Jason, take him. Smart's got Beal. Yeah. Kemba's got Bertans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, but
I think an open Bertans 3 is better than a contested Russell Westbrook layup.
But even if that's the case, Bertans has Kemba Walker on him.
Sure. Well, then you start rotating.
I'm just saying.
I don't know, man. What do you want me to do here? They're bigger underdogs.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Nobody's you're not sticking Bertans under the rim and seeing what he can do.
No, look, I mean, Jason Tatum's going to cook him on the other end.
All I'm saying is that the play-in games 5-on-5 suck. So, I'd be willing to experiment. What about a game of horse?
Would I watch it? No.
Yeah. Do you remember when they did that awful?
Yeah, and I didn't watch it then, and we didn't have other things to do.
I didn't watch it either, and I heard it was the worst thing ever created.
I watched ESPN highlights the next morning because we had the morning show, and I at least needed to be versed in whatever happened because we had to talk about it, but I would not watch it, and I didn't at a time where all things stopped, and it was still not interesting enough.
No. Just get me to Saturday. Give me some good basketball games, but we do have some great DFS contests tonight, some huge contests, as a matter of fact, as is the case every night. We also have showdown slates, huge ones as well. We have that promo play-in. That drives me nuts, Josh. Got to talk to someone about that. Throwing a hyphen in there.
I think that you have hated more of our promo codes over the past year than any person on the planet. Okay. I'd say 70%. You're just like, this is terrible.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong about play-in.
No, it's bad. It's bad.
Like if it was just play in, because every time I say all one word anyway, right? It could be numbers and I'm going to tell you it's all one word.
Yeah, so I agree.
Play-in gets you 2 full weeks of the Awesemo Express Pass for NBA for the price of 1. All you have to do is go to awesemo.com/promos and click on it. You don't even have to type it in anymore.
Which you should do because you're definitely going to screw it up if you have to type it in.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like this is a fail proof at this point. Go to awesemo.com/promos. Check it out. The reason I bring that up is because with the size of these showdown contests, all of our showdown tools, we added this like last year, I think it was, to our Express Pass. All of our showdown tools are available on our Express Pass for NBA. It's less than $5. You'll get both weeks of it. And it's not just showdown. It's other content as well. It's other tools as well. But everything for showdown with these huge contests you can get in the Express Pass. So go use that play-in promo, awesemo.com/promos. And if you want to get 25% off the entire month of everything, like not just basketball, but hockey's still in the playoffs, baseball's in full swing, UFC, PGA, NASCAR, everything on the site. All of our tools, top to bottom, Awesemo ownership projections, player projections, the rankings, top stack tool, boom or bust tool, lineup builder, you name it. I'm running out of breath. All the tools built by the #1 ranked DFS player, Alex Baker, Awesemo himself. Go to awesemo.com/promos. Use that Gold Rush promo. Get 25% off the entire first month, everything on the site. All right, Josh. Well, I guess it's time to tell everyone we're happy to have them here, and we'd love for them to hit that thumbs up button.
It's amazing that you're complaining about promo codes. We basically just have a Ron Burgundy teleprompter situation. So apparently on the one-stop shop, I am not listed to be on this show. That would be Josh Harris of NHL fame for us. And not only did that immediately get taken and run with, but we tagged Josh Harris in the NBA tweet that went out for this show today.
I thought you were calling me Ron Burgundy. I think I wasn't reading the damn thing.
No, so Josh just confirmed that he is not, in fact, me on Twitter.
That is great. See how you can do here with these likes, Josh.
Okay. Well,
I'm curious to see what you come up with today.
I don't need to cut too big of a promo. People are just really good people. So I don't have much to say.
That's a promo in itself.
We're at 230 viewers, 42 likes. And to me, that's just low. We maintain north of a 50% ratio on the process show. That's 6:30 a.m. every day that there's more than one NBA game that won't be here this week. However, Chris is watching because I just got the DM from Chris. So he's going to be like, that was me. I put Josh Harris in the schedule.
I hope Chris didn't create those promo codes too.
Anyway, guys, please hit the like button. It helps us out a ton. Laffy and I are driven by ego, and watching those likes climb makes our egos climb. And I know that I'm near the top of where my ego can be, but there's always that little sliver at the top that I can fill in. So please hit that like button, but subscribe to the channel as well. The bigger we get with subs, the more content we can offer you guys.
All right. I love it. You're definitely logged into the Awesemo account right now, aren't you?
Did somebody talk?
Oh, no. As William said, I don't know how anyone that was me. He maxes out at 20 points and does nothing besides threes. And from the Awesemo account, someone said, because guys have salaries. That is a very Josh Engleman comment right there.
Just for the record, Chris definitely whiffed on the autofill of my name. However, and Chris, I'm airing you out for this, but I don't really care. He's Team Laffy with that promo code, by the way.
He thinks it's awful, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the reinforcement.
Yeah.
And
by the way, during the show, I'm always logged in as the Awesemo account because I have the studio up. So it shows me viewers and likes, and I can see super chats and stuff like that. When I'm watching you guys for the deeper dive, I actually pull that up on my YouTube proper.
Ready to
and that's
do this?
Because I usually antagonize everybody for an hour.
Let's make this happen. San Antonio and Memphis. The San Antonio Spurs 4-point dogs against the Grizzlies, 223.5 total. Well, this game is a one and done, Josh, much like Charlotte and Indiana was yesterday, whereas Golden State and the Lakers is not the case. And, well, very simply, this should be one of those games. And I'm just throwing it out there because this doesn't matter from a DFS standpoint at all. I've played many, many nights of DFS basketball, baseball, whatever, where I just don't watch the games, right? And I know you've done the same thing, right? You got to be around, but sometimes you're not watching San Antonio and Memphis. Now with football, every single Sunday I'm there watching. But this is one of those games that I know you're not, that is just not wildly appealing from a spectator standpoint, but also Memphis runs a super deep rotation. Grayson Allen is the only player that might be out today. And on the San Antonio side, aside from Derek White, who's been out for like a month now, the only guy that's missing is, well, no, that's it, right? I mean, I think even Trey Lyles is questionable to play this game. And what does that mean? So we're not even in a scenario or in a situation where we could be getting good value popping up from this one later in the day.
Yeah, because it's already here. That's what the ridiculous part is. DeJounte Murray, for reasons unbeknownst to me, is 6,300 on DraftKings today. He's clearly exceptional. For some reason, I don't know what it is, DeMar DeRozan is only 7K. He is the number one contender on both sites. Very clearly my top play on DraftKings at 7K. Both of those guys already projected for 50% ownership, and I completely agree with it. But it's not just those guys.
Jakob Poeltl too.
The whole team's underpriced. Jakob Poeltl, 6,300 on FanDuel, 4,900 on DraftKings. You got to play him at that price tag. It's crazy if you don't. Keldon Johnson is 4,400. Lonnie Walker is 4,300. Like some of these guys are going to play 28, 30, 32 minutes. The Spurs are my favorite team today, which is not at all what I was expecting to see when I woke up, but it's not even close how big of a gap it is between San Antonio and everybody else. I have San Antonio having 3 guys in the optimal lineup on average. Next closest is 2.1 for Memphis. We're not even in the same ballpark. You can play everybody from San Antonio. Patty Mills is picking up a lot of love at 3,300. I would pretty easily get away from that number and just go to like Devin Vassell at 3,400 just to be different in a large field GBP if you're trying not to chop. But the top of the heap, DeRozan, Murray, Jake Puddle, I don't know what else to say. They look incredible because of their prices, and they're just as good on FanDuel.
You know, I really don't understand this at all. As a matter of fact, it makes no sense to me because on one hand, yesterday it was difficult to build lineups. There's no doubt about that, right? It was tough and you had to make some decisions and you had to contemplate the Westbrook fade. You had to decide whether or not you were rostering 2 high-end players, even like a Sabonis and a Tatum, or just going more balanced with one of them. I'll tell you what, though, with this, it's not even an overcorrection. And what I mean is, if it were an overcorrection on DraftKings' part, trying to make things easier, and we've seen them do that before. We've seen them intentionally price players in slates to where it's easier to roster people on smaller slates. But I don't really know if that's the case with the rest of this. Like, Andrew Wiggins is more expensive than DeJounte Murray. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. There are a few players here that are still reasonably or accurately priced, whereas the entire San Antonio Spurs team has just fallen off a cliff from a salary standpoint.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here, but maybe they're trying to increase the interest in this game by making people have to roster more guys in this game. I don't know. Oh. And I assume that there's a slight lean to people. Like, I don't generally believe these things are able to be modeled all that well, but I would guess that naturally more people will be rostering Warriors and Lakers over Spurs and Grizzlies today, just by, and like everybody hand building will lean towards that game more than Spurs Memphis. So ownership could even be more in your favor on a day like today.
I don't know if I agree with you on that.
I just feel like you're so much more likely to roster guys in the game that's more fun.
It's possible, but are you rostering the top guys in the game that's more fun and filling it out with San Antonio Spurs? I didn't want to earlier.
I know what you mean.
Ago, I didn't want to use the word value because it's just, I should probably restructure the term value or the word value anyway in the playoffs because it's different. You're not getting those min-sal guys, but You're right. Like Murray at 63 is value. Jakob Poeltl at 49 is clear value. And even Rudy Gay at $4,000 at this stage of the game, and Patty Mills at 33, despite the fact that we don't know how many minutes he's going to get, is value. It feels like to me, you could see a lot of Lakers, Golden State, where it's LeBron and Curry, if you can fit them in, and then round it out with a ton of Spurs options.
But that's fair. I don't disagree.
I don't know. I mean, I don't see. Let me put it to you this way: I don't know if you're hand building. I don't know if you're crunching. how do you get away from the Spurs? Even if you were to be like, well, I'm trying to be different today. Do you want to be different? Do you want to get away from a $6,300 DeJounte Murray?
I certainly don't. Looks perfect to me. I mean, I think, like I said, San Antonio is the team I want the most of. They're in the optimal. There's so many guys heavily involved in the optimal. And you can still find guys that are under-owned. Like, to me, Lonnie Walker at 4,300 is probably a little under-owned. What happens if Jakob Poeltl gets into a little bit of foul trouble? Drew Eubanks is projected for 8% ownership. We saw Goga Bitadze go crazy yesterday and end up being a necessity. Not saying that Drew Eubanks is going to go crazy and be a necessity, but he's 3,200. He's still like a north of a fantasy point per minute guy. I'll take my chances there at an 8% owned Drew Eubanks.
Sure. Memphis playing at a top 10 pace, well, 11th fastest, basically tied with Boston for 10th over the last month of the season. Defensively, they've been better, but they're really middle of the road. So is this a premier matchup? Is it Washington? Is it Indy? No, it's not, but it's also not a bad matchup for the Spurs either, Josh.
No, not at all. It's a slight pace up spot. I believe they gained like a possession and a half over their average. If I'm just going off of 1.5 on the dot. Look at that. What a great memory.
Nice work, fella. Yeah, over the last month, Spurs have picked it up a little bit, but on the season, you're getting a little bit of a bump there. What about Memphis? John Morant, Jonas Valanciunas. Let's start with Joe Val here. When he plays big minutes, he's fantastic, and he's a 60% shooter on the season almost. You look at his recent games, his shot volume isn't even that high. His usage isn't even that crazy. He's just been wildly efficient, which, as you know, worries me when a guy's shooting 80% over since the start of May. But Joe Val is a extraordinarily good offensive player and rebounder. And I would assume that we should be getting to a decent amount of him today against this Spurs team.
Yeah, I like him quite a bit. Although I do think he's going mildly over-owned at 8,700 on FanDuel, but at 7,600 on DraftKings, he's already projected for 40% ownership, and I agree with it. It is kind of a tough matchup for him. Like, Jakob Poeltl's good, really good defensively. So at least in terms of Joe Val, like, he's not getting a cupcake matchup on the opposite side. So that is at least mild concern, but he's just underpriced. Speaking of underpriced, John Morant is 7,500 on FanDuel, so he's still priced like he's playing 31 minutes today, which is not at all the case. I like loading up on John Morant, and then I like loading up on Jaren Jackson. You just got to hope he stays out of foul trouble. 6,600 on FanDuel, and for some strange reason, 5,900 on DK. You project him for 30 minutes. You just got to pray that he doesn't hack everybody that he sees in his first rotation, and he can actually get to 30 minutes. I find Memphis to be wildly underpriced. Slow-Mo is 5,300 on DraftKings. He's projected for 40% ownership. I love it. Dylan Brooks, I like quite a bit, 5,800 on DraftKings. The good thing about Memphis, especially if Grayson Allen is in, is that you can basically ignore their bench. I only have interest in Morant, Joe Val, Jaren Jackson, Kyle Anderson, Dylan Brooks. If Allen is in, if he's out, you can probably take some flyers on the Meltons and Baines of the world. But I think that it's pretty easy to actually get away from the rest of Memphis today.
What if I told you the Spurs are allowing the 5th most points in the paint and the 2nd most rebounds to their opponents this season?
Okay.
Well, I'm saying, like, yeah, okay, Jakob Poeltl's a decent defender, but it hasn't really influenced some of the fantasy production that you're looking for. If this is a team that allows a lot of points around the basket, has coughed up the 2nd most rebounds to their opponents, it's still a good spot for Valanciunas.
Maybe. Generally speaking, I would lean towards that being a product of the rest of the team and not Joe Val, in the similar way that, I think Rudy Gobert impacts the rest of teams and not necessarily one-on-one center defense. Am I making sense there?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just think Joe Val is more than polished and more than proficient enough when it comes to his offensive acumen and just an overall elite rebounding center that I don't worry too much about it at that price point. And to be fair, you're not saying you're worried about it either. You're just saying it might not be the best matchup.
No, so it's a volume thing. San Antonio is more than okay with allowing teams to shoot at the rim. They play to that style. They want that to happen. They've also allowed the third lowest field goal percentage at the rim. That is fully because of Jakob Poeltl. I promise you that it's not from LaMarcus Aldridge earlier in the season. So that's a benefit in DFS terms because we don't care about rates. We're caring about the volume here. The problem lies in that it creates additional variance because you're going to get those shots. And some days those additional shots are going to fall. Jakob Poeltl is going to get himself into foul trouble. Some of the buckets are just going to go. But generally, that's exactly what the Spurs want you to do, to get into the paint and take a contested shot over Jakob Poeltl.
Right. And what I'm saying is when it comes to Joval, I'm okay with that if the volume is there.
I think the benefit is bigger for dump offs than it is for Joval specifically. But I don't know how to work that into DFS. But I think the benefit comes on the extra rotation or the extra pass and not the direct play to Joval.
Okay. So you do like him or you don't?
I do, because none of that stuff is changing anything that I'm doing from DFS. Joval's projected for whatever the hell I have him projected for at 32 minutes and 7,600, and that's all I care about.
Sounds good. And I think you could get significantly more minutes out of Joval in a competitive game today, which if you were to play 36 at 7,600, that's a smash spot every single time, no matter who he's going up against.
Look, I got him in the optimal 44% of the time at 32 minutes. You start tacking extra minutes on there and it's going to climb considerably.
Any other thoughts here on the Grizzlies?
I would say if Grayson Allen ends up out, Desmond Bane is already 4,800 on DK. That's going to be a tough sell. Bane is 3,700 on FanDuel. And I think then he becomes a kind of interesting value. And if we know that Grayson Allen is starting today, no idea. But if he is, he's the flat minimum on FanDuel. That's something to at least take a look at.
Okay. And yeah, LaMelo was awful yesterday. Bertans was terrible. 1 for 8. That was a slate to forget. I hope for anyone who had a great night, and I hope there were some people out there, but I mean, that was largely brutal from top to bottom, Josh.
It was not fun to watch.
It wasn't, but No House Advantage is very fun to play.
Yes.
Sponsor of the Strategy Show. If you haven't checked them out yet, I've got a bunch of reasons you should. If you don't know what it is, it's peer-to-peer player prop system over there. Would you call it a system, a format, Josh? What would you call it? Right? It's peer-to-peer player props, but
yeah,
it's system, right? Format.
System works. System works.
Okay, system. Where just like any of these other sites, you're playing against other people and you're setting rosters. But in this case, unlike betting single bets, prop bets on all of these other books, you're putting props into a lineup. So for example, Domantas Sabonis over 47.5 points, rebounds, and assists, or would you take points, right? Like Domantas Sabonis over 23.5 points, under 23.5 points. Say you really have a good lean on that. You put that at the top of your lineup because you get more points for the ones at the top of your lineup with the highest confidence, the less points or least points for the ones at the bottom. And you make it like that. You have 8 different spots. You throw it into a tournament, into GPPs, and you win money, right? Now, the cool thing about this is we decided to make tools entirely for free, whether you're a member or subscriber or not at Awesemo, for No House Advantage, specifically for that. The player prop tool, which takes the props they have there and the projections that we have for those props and gives you the expected ROI, the expected win rate on them, and the optimal lineups tool as well. Both of them totally free. Also, these are static props on No House Advantage. So whatever comes out in the morning, no matter what happens, right? Like with LeVert going out yesterday, Sabonis's prop would have stayed exactly the same. Take advantage of that stuff. Use the tools. And when you sign up, use the promo code Awesemo, AWESEMO, and you get $20 upon signing up and your first deposit. So get the tools, use them for free. You get the $20 injected straight into your account when you sign up and deposit using the promo code Awesemo, and check out No House Advantage today.
Biggest prop on No House Advantage for today. We're going to give this one out because anybody could go look at this. That would be the over for DeJounte Murray's rebounds. No House Advantage has it set at 5.5. We've got it projected at 8.27.
Wow.
92% chance to land.
Whew. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing. Like that could change on the books as people start hammering the over, but it won't change on No House Advantage. And Josh, you best believe that people go, well, anyone's going to see that. No, they're not. I can assure you. A lot of people are going to see that and be like, oh, he's a guard. He's 5.5 rebounds sounds about right. People might not know about the free tools, the prop tool.
Oh, the first thing people are going to do is like, oh, this is LeBron James in a pseudo elimination game. He's my number 10 for over in points because he's LeBron James, or the exact opposite. Because he's LeBron James, I'm taking the under because blah, 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 LeBron James, MJ's the GOAT nonsense. Whereas DeJounte Murray rebounds, Jakob Poeltl rebounds, DeMar DeRozan assists are the 3 best props that we have shown right now. They should be in the 10, 9, 8 spots.
Good call. Golden State. Yep. Los Angeles Lakers. You got the Warriors here, 5.5-point dogs. Lakers are at the Staples Center, 218 total. Well, Josh, this should actually be an enjoyable game to watch. Now, as you're saying, no? See, I think it will. Does LeBron need to go crazy? No. But I think watching Steph Curry go up against this Lakers defense alone should be pretty enjoyable. I guess the thing that takes away from it is it's like, yeah, it's a fun game, but is it just going to feel like a regular season game anyway?
I don't think it's going to feel like a regular season game. I think it's incredibly entertaining. That I'm in no position to disagree with. I just don't think that these teams are all that comparable if they're at full strength, and it appears that they're at full strength. However, I do want to give this little caveat, and I'm pulling it up right now because I want to make sure that I get the data right, because I think it matters. Let me just go ahead and give it a little clicky click. Okay, so I am right. Here we go. I think this Warriors team is better than people realize. You ready?
I'm listening.
When Steph Curry and Draymond Green are on the floor this year, and that is absolutely going to be probably 38 to 42 minutes of today's game, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And James Wiseman is not on the floor. They've played 2,795 possessions. That's a pretty big sample. I think you would agree.
Yeah, that's a good number.
Their net rating in that time, plus 12.6. That is higher than any team in the league this year, including the Utah Jazz. They have a 97th percentile offense and a 78th percentile defense. This is not the same Warriors team that is being put into this game based on their record. Now, LeBron James and Anthony Davis in elimination type games are just going to be on a different level than those guys. Golden State not really set up to guard them. It's tricky, but I don't think that people realize how good Golden State has actually been this year. James Wiseman was a sink on this team in a major way.
Yeah, and that's a great stat right there. It doesn't surprise me though. Steph Curry is the X factor, always. Now, of course, Draymond Green comes in, I'd say a distant second, but still somebody that anchors this team on a number of different levels. When you have that tandem of Steph Curry and Draymond Green, you're going to be able to compete, especially when Steph Curry can rip off 50 points in any game. I mean, listen, you don't have a lot of guys that every single night you go, yeah, if he scores 50, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not talking about, yeah, he dropped 50 a couple times on the season. I mean, any night he could keep them competitive with his shooting because he can knock shots down from literally anywhere on the court. If Steph Curry pulls up from half court, I don't go, oh my God, what a terrible shot. I go a 50-50 chance.
He's incredible. He's the best shooter ever. And it's not even remotely close. No. He's a delight to watch on offense.
It's spectacular. So that's why I'm excited about this game. Not because I think Golden State wins necessarily, but because I think if they do win, it's going to be because Stephen Curry has a monster game and Draymond Green has 17 stocks and they put the pieces together. The rest of this team, look, Andrew Wiggins, Kent Bazemore, these aren't guys these are replaceable players. These are guys that you could pull from anywhere and pretty much replace them. Like you said, though, that net rating, it is Steph Curry and Draymond Green. They are the motor. They drive this. Everything revolves around them. And then hopefully the pieces around them just don't fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. I actually think it sucks that they don't have Kelly Oubre here. I think that is having that extra body would be pretty important, especially against the Lakers in this sitch. But I mean, it all comes down to Curry. 10-4 on FanDuel, 10-1 on DraftKings. Shows up in the optimal about 50% of the time. That's exactly where his ownership is. I don't really have anything to add. You play him a lot because his raw point ceiling today is huge. And there's probably enough value out there to get there.
Hey, welcome to Team Awesemo, Double R. Glad to have you, man. If you guys want to join, get those badges, get those emojis, and some other perks along the way, you can hit join right under that thumbs up button, which if you haven't hit yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Join the team here at Awesemo. We'd love to have you. We also got some free content if you want to check it out at Awesemo today. It's premium content, but today it's free. Ownership rankings for basketball, baseball player rankings, PGA ownership projections, and NHL main slate ownership projections. You don't have to be a member. So when you're over there perusing the No House Advantage player prop tool and the optimal lineups tool, be sure to take advantage of all of the premium stuff that's usually behind paywall that today won't be. All right. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, how do we approach Steph Curry and Draymond Green today?
Steph, I don't really have anything to add. Like, if you want to play him, play him. He's one of the best plays on the slate. His raw point ceiling is massive. He's a 50-50 shot to be in the optimal. Draymond is 8,200 on FanDuel, which is fine, but I think he's a little over-owned at 44%. This is not the best spot for Draymond. There's so many big bodies in the paint. He's going to have to be at his best, and I think he's more important defensively than as like a conduit today on offense. But he's 7,400 on DraftKings, and I think that's a little bit more manageable. The guy that I actually have my eye on most is probably Andrew Wiggins, 6,600 on DraftKings today. Still projected for 39% ownership, but I'd like to have a little bit more there. I think he's just simply underpriced. He's $1,200 more expensive on FanDuel. That's where it gets a little dicey. And then Kevon Looney, I have no idea what his minutes are going to be, but I assume they're going to want him out there a lot. Draymond is not really capable of dealing with all of the big guys that exist for the Lakers. Like, there's too much size out there if AD is at the 4. Because if AD moves to the 5, then Draymond can kind of save himself. But if they've got AD and LeBron out there, or sorry, AD and insert Drummond, Harrell, Gasol, I think we see Looney play 28, 30 minutes, something in that neighborhood. I like that value at sub 4K.
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
How much of a must-win game is this for either team?
It's not a must-win game for Golden State in any way.
Okay.
It is. It's obviously not a must-win for either team in that they can win and still be in the playoffs. But clearly it's massive for the Lakers. Nobody thought Golden State was any good, and nobody thinks they're any good now, and they're no threat to win. So to me, there's no pressure on Golden State.
Yeah, it's fair. The reason I say that, though, is Stephen Curry against Memphis on the 16th, right? 36 field goal attempts.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at his shot volume, when you look at the usage, it is as high as any player in the league right now. And he has a 3-point prop of, what do you think it is?
3-pointers made?
Yeah.
I'm not looking it up. I'm just trying to figure out what I have him projected for. 34, 7, 24, 7.5, 8.5, something like that.
No, not made, but at 5.5 3-pointers.
Really? Okay.
Now the over's juiced at minus 155, right?
Yeah.
But it just, Stephen Curry could come off and rip 10 3-pointers today. He could knock down 8, 9, 10 in pretty easy fashion.
Let me see what I have him projected for.
Yeah, please do. While you pull that up, I'll say this much. I know this matchup is tough for Stephen Curry. I know the LA Lakers, even without LeBron James and Davis for a period of time there, still had one of the better defensive ratings in the league. None of that is lost on me. But I will say this much. Then they're also number 1 in defensive rating on the season still, despite missing all of those players. Sixers second, Jazz third, Knicks and Warriors rounding out the top 5. So 2 top 5 defensive ratings here. I don't really care about it when it comes to Stephen Curry. I don't. Not on a 2-game slate, not in a play-in game, not in the regular, when we're out of the regular season. None of that stuff, if you were to use that against him, is going to phase me whatsoever. You just roster Steph Curry and hope he takes another 30 shots.
6.1 is where I have him today.
Okay. So, I mean, that's juiced at minus 155.
Yeah. So, somewhere in that 6 to 6.5 range is probably like the right answer.
Yeah.
I mean, I expect him to shoot 23s if this game is competitive.
How crazy is that?
And like, if he's shooting 20, there's nothing saying that they can't have 10 made easy.
So Steph Curry, since the beginning of April, right, leads the team in leads the league, in 3-point attempts, as you would have guessed, right? How far ahead of the next closest player is he?
It's attempts, like total attempts?
Attempts per game.
What's the number? What does he have?
Curry, the number is 14.8.
I mean, he's probably like a full 1.5 to 2 ahead of, I don't know, Dame, maybe Luka.
Yeah, try 5 ahead of the next closest player.
5 attempts?
5 more 3-point attempts per game than the next closest player since the start of April.
Who's second?
You'll never guess. You will never. No joke, I would wager my life on this. I would stick my head in a guillotine and know that you would never guess this. If I gave you 3 tries, you would never get this.
So it's some random guy like Sadiq Bey or something stupid for the Pistons.
Do you want me to tell you?
No, I'm looking through the teams.
Because I don't think there's any way you come close to getting
Reggie Bullock.
No. And T.O. Deck says Buddy Hield. He's 3rd, so that's a good guess. If
you can just tell me now. I don't know.
Devontae.
I felt like Reggie. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have never got there. I felt like Reggie Bullock was a pretty decent guess. Like, not that I think that he's taking a lot, but that's the type of name that I was thinking of. Like, yeah, he only shoots 3s. Like, I would never want to say Reggie Bullock.
Right. It makes sense for sure. No, Devontae Graham's 3-point attempts if you were to actually go back, he's attempted double-digit 3s in all but like 3 of his last 15 games.
That's wild. I had no idea.
Crazy, right? When I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe he was hurt and he only played a few games. He only played 4 fewer games than Curry over that span. So, but yeah, Curry's attempting 15 threes per game since the start of April. It's an absurd number. And on DraftKings, especially, if he makes 8 threes, that's, very close to a triple-double bonus alone.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about 28 points just straight out of the gate. Not like nothing. And I'm sure he'll get fouled on 1 or 2 of those too.
Where else? Yeah, exactly. Where else are you for the Golden State Warriors today, now that we've harped on Curry enough?
Yeah, like, obviously, Bazemore and Juan Toscano-Anderson are guys you can rotate through. I think Jordan Poole for 4,700 is probably a little bit too expensive for the Warriors, just because Curry, Draymond, and Wiggins are going to play 38 minutes or more. So the upside for minutes becomes pretty limited in other spots. I only expect them to run an 8-man rotation. That's what they've been doing over their past few games. So to me, the Golden State Warriors are the easiest team to project today. I don't think that they mix and match too much, mostly because they're not all that deep. So if we're ranking them in order on FanDuel, it's Curry, Draymond, Looney, then Wiggins. And on DraftKings, it's Curry, Wiggins, Looney, then Draymond.
Okay. Top options, not only from Golden State, but in context of this slate, would you say outside of Curry, any of these guys are top options for you?
No.
Okay. How about we move to the Lakers here? Wrap this one up. Been a fun show so far.
Sure thing.
Davis and LeBron James. Here you go. Of the 3 highest priced players on this slate, all of them are from this game. And if you're just using DraftKings, there's nobody within $1,700 of the cheapest player of the big 3 from this game. That's convoluted way of saying all of the top tier options are from either Golden State or the Lakers today, 2 of whom come from the Lakers in Davis and James. This shouldn't be the highest scoring game, Josh. You do have 2 top 5 defenses, but the same thing we've said with Curry, when it comes to somebody like LeBron James, you're just not too worried about matchups in a scenario like this.
No, the thing that I'm worried about is playing time.
Yeah, I was thinking
I
the
have
same
no
thing.
concept of how much LeBron James is going to be out on the floor. I gave him 34 minutes, which makes me feel like he is dramatically over-owned, and that's clearly not the way that I want to roll into the late night hammer, thinking, hey, I'm going to be pretty underweight to LeBron James, the guy that is probably the best player in the NBA. That's not fun at all.
He'll be 100% back to his normal rotation today. Why wouldn't he be? Like, is there any practical reason for that outside of he didn't play huge minutes in the remaining games of the season, but he was getting back out there and just making sure he was good? It's LeBron James. We've seen him do this so many times where,
look, he hasn't played more than 32 minutes in a game since before April 19th. That's a full calendar month.
I hate to be this guy, but it's LeBron James. Like, I know it sounds so ridiculous, but
yeah, but you got to figure there's a 10 to 15% chance on either side that like the main rotation doesn't have to be made by either one of these teams. You know what I mean? Like Golden State can blow out the Lakers in X% of these games where LeBron doesn't play in the fourth. Same sort of scenario on the opposite side. Like if this were a real one and done game, LeBron's playing 40 minutes. And I don't think that you're saying that you think he plays 40 today.
No. I would think if it's close, LeBron plays 36 minutes for sure.
I agree. I think that they would try to play him 36 minutes if this game is close, which makes me feel significantly more comfortable about him playing 34.
Yeah, I think 34 is a perfectly fine projection.
And at 34, I don't like him all that much.
Right, and that's the problem. If you put him to 36, how much more LeBron would you be getting?
A lot more.
A lot more. So those 2 minutes could make a significant difference for you.
Yeah.
Would that be a lot more LeBron and significantly less Curry? Would that be less Anthony Davis? Because someone has to be a casualty there.
Just looking at the totals now.
Because this is a good exercise for anybody that thinks LeBron is going to play more minutes, right? Like, okay, well, I think he's going to play 37. Then this is what it looks like. Here's what his projection looks like. And here's what it does to your rosters or to your lineups to guys like Curry and Anthony Davis and the other top priced options that could be affected by that.
I think it would hurt Anthony Davis the most.
Okay. See, I'd be fine with that. Totally fine with that. If more LeBron James comes at the cost of cutting Curry significantly,
yeah,
that is a pretty serious concern to me, because if the Lakers win this game, it could be LeBron James, it could be Anthony Davis, it could be a combination of both of them where they both have like 45 to 50 fantasy point games, which is the worst case scenario, right? I'd rather it be one of them. If the Golden State Warriors keep this game competitive or win, it's Steph Curry. Like, I don't know if there's another alternative. Maybe Wiggins. It's not Draymond Green. And you'd be hard pressed to assume that Wiggins could get it done either. It's Steph Curry.
The tricky thing here is that you kind of have to think about it independent of the slate too, because AD, LeBron, and Steph are all, let's just say, basically the same price for all intents and purposes. It matters how they perform against each other more than anything else. Like, you expect one of those guys to have a big enough raw points performance that they're just in the optimal. And maybe you can get to two depending on how the value actually shakes out. But like, if LeBron just simply outscores AD by 1, he's going to be more frequently necessary. If Steph doesn't outscore AD and LeBron just in fantasy points, like, he's just not going to be that guy. So much of it matters in just this 1v1v1 of those three guys today. And that will dictate sort of the success of your lineup. You got to get the best stud from this game correct. And I'd say that it's like a 3-way coin flip.
All right. We got a couple super chats here from TO Deck 20. Says, guys, thank you. It's loony time. Well, we will talk about that. Maybe we won't.
He doesn't. I don't think that he means Kevon Looney. I think he means loony of the loony and toonie, the currency for Canada.
Oh, but the Canadian maple leaf right there. Maybe that's what that's supposed to be.
Well, the super chat is also in Canadian money. $5 Canadian, $5 Canadian.
And loony's not spelled that way, but we have so many misspellings of names that I usually just assume whatever it sounds like is.
Yeah. So loonies and toonies are $1 and $2 coins.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I hate Canadians.
I think their money's really fun to mess around with.
I'm joking. Why would I hate Canadians? They're fine people.
Oh, that's where we should have built the wall.
Why?
Keep them out, man. I don't need that Tim Hortons nonsense down here.
They keep us out, man. They want nothing.
They should. We're the worst.
We're the worst. Yeah. Another one. Thanks to the two of you and Awesemo team. I took down 17,000 plus on Saturday. That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
That's awesome, man.
Spend them loonies and toonies wisely, sir. And then he said, I work full time and do DFS on the side. Took it from a hobby to a second job a few months ago. So bing, bang, boom with the 3 super chats. Congrats, dude. Happy to see that. It's a great way to end this show. But before we do, Josh, what else are we doing with this Lakers squad? This will be a good way to wrap it up. Yeah.
So Schroeder, 5,500 on FanDuel, 6,100 on DraftKings. Very clearly looks a lot better on the FanDuel side because of that price. The guy that we really need to talk about here, and it's not on DraftKings where he's 5,400 because that price is stupid. Kyle Kuzma is 4K on FanDuel today. And that is all too enticing for me. I think that he is going pretty significantly under-owned. I think Kyle Kuzma is the best GPP play on the Lakers today. So I am really going to hate watch this Lakers Warriors game.
Yeah, well, okay. So Kyle Kuzma should probably be $3,000. I'm joking, but you know how I feel about that guy. Actually, no,
I don't like him.
You know how everyone feels about Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah.
It just makes sense to not want to roster him, but here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the fact that he's $1,400 more expensive on DraftKings means that like one of those places he's providing some sort of value. And it seems like that is FanDuel for me right now. I only have him in for 24 minutes, but I do think that there is upside in minutes, especially on the off chance that like LeBron just tweaks his ankle again or something. Like that could happen. He's not healthy by any means. 4K Kyle Kuzma is a value option today against Golden State. Obviously a pace up spot for the Lakers against the Warriors. So it's good in that regard. He could play more than 24 minutes. It wouldn't shock me. He could certainly play less too. They could rely on somebody else. I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that I like him at 4K. The other big question we have here is how many minutes does Andre Drummond play? He's 7K on FanDuel.
Very question. Yeah.
6,400 on DraftKings. I have no concept. What I'm thinking right now is that we don't see Marc Gasol today, but I don't know. This doesn't seem like a great Marc Gasol game to me.
No, as a matter of fact, I don't think you need Marc Gasol in a spot like this. Defensively, he's still somebody that can make an impact and can slow down big opposing centers that dominate in the post. Look what he's done to guys like Joel Embiid in the past. There's nobody like this for Golden State. Can we see 24 and 24 from Drummond and Harrell? Is that what we get?
Do we even need to see 48 minutes from the centers? Don't forget, Anthony Davis is a pretty damn good center when push comes to shove.
Yeah, that's a good call. It's a good call. Going into the postseason, Drummond could play 18.
Yeah, Drummond can play 30 or 13 today, and it really wouldn't surprise me because of this particular matchup. But to me, if this game is close, Anthony Davis is in at the 5. And they're trying to spread them out a little bit further. That would be my expectation.
I'd be very surprised if Drummond played anywhere close to 30. I think it's almost more likely that he plays less than usual than more.
The only reason that I think it's possible is that I just think Marc Gasol is in a bad spot in this matchup. And I don't know if they want to go to Montrezl Harrell instead, at which point then it's either AD or other AD.
All right.
See what I did there?
No, I missed it. Say it again.
They both have Anthony Davis and Andre Drummond have the same initials. So I called them both AD.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you're going to confuse people.
I know. It's going to be tricky.
All right. Well, here we go. We've gone almost an hour again on a 2-game slate because that's what we do here. Thanks to you guys hanging out, making this easy on us. Hit that thumbs up before you go. Subscribe to the channel. That's huge around here. That helps us a ton. Go ahead. Yeah, sure. Please.
Our boy, TO Deck 20. You don't have to pay taxes on DFS winnings in Canada.
Oh, wow. Let's head out.
Shit.
Let's head north.
Plus some healthcare, man. This is going to be good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had no idea.
Stick to the taxes.
That's kind of crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah. I'm assuming Canada's not the only spot. I don't know. Maybe we'll come visit TO Deck 20 sometime and,
no, unless they move Canada to a
spend
better...
our loonies at a Tim Hortons.
No, I can't be carrying around change and stuff. Who the hell wants $100 in $2 coins in their pocket? What are you talking? Do you just throw handfuls of them at strip clubs?
I haven't been to Canada. I used to play hockey up there and went to Whistler Blackcomb to go snowboarding. So fun times, but I don't remember. It's been a long time.
I went to Niagara Falls when I turned 20 because we were allowed to drink and we weren't 21. So we went for spring break.
That's fun.
I had a really good time. Yeah. Molson Black Ice or something like that was getting sucked down a lot.
Molson Triple X.
Oh God, it was horrid.
That's another one that'll do it to you for sure.
The craziest part of it all, and it's when I learned that everybody's trash is somebody else's treasure. And this is craziness to me, but the fact that it gets marketed like this really opened my eyes to my beer selection. We went to the beer store to pick up beer. They were selling cases of Milwaukee's Best Premium for $28 because it was an import. Those cases were like $7.50 when I was buying them in US dollars. At that moment, I was like, oh, so like if beer is good or not, it's just made up.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. Sure. I would assume Molson was a lot cheaper there than it was in America too.
Yep. And I would drink like Molson Canadian Molson Canadian would be the perfect example. I would drink that thinking it was good beer because it was more expensive, when in all honesty, I was just a moron and I didn't understand that all it was marketing. It was marketing to different people. Yeah. It's crazy.
That's all it is. That'll do it for us, guys. Thanks for hanging out. As always, remember Gold Rush, 25% off everything on the site for an entire month, or play-in. I was just going to say, is it Gold-Rush? Gold Rush is one word. Play in. Just go to awesemo.com/promos. Save yourself the trouble of trying to type that in. You want to get an Awesemo NBA Express Pass, not just for the week, but a full additional week for free on top of that, which includes all of the showdown tools, given that showdown contests are going to be massive going forward into the postseason. Check that out as well. We'll see you back here soon. And maybe Josh and I'll be on the deeper dive tomorrow. Is that legit?
I will be on the deeper dive tomorrow.
All right. We'll see you then. I'll see you back here tonight. Shaving this fucking face too. That's going to suck. Later, guys.
Zinc, baby.
Zinc time.
Just popped up on my screen too. It's Gold _Rush !